So I've just written to RFK again because he's actually taking YouTube to court over his political material being removed, which is amazing, really. Well, it shouldn't have been removed in the first place, but I just want to. We're actually working on. Well, I'm not working on it, but someone's writing some more legal work for us around political rights on YouTube. Let's just take this for instance, right? And this is not on YouTube. You can actually pay to watch movies. You can watch there's a lot of you can rent films out, but I've never done that, right? You can pay to watch stuff or whatever, right? And also you can advertise on YouTube through Google Ads, and it still shows the adverts in the same window as when you're watching any video, right? So any one of us channel videos are the same platform and window that it shows ads in, right? Now, YouTube have got a policy, right? They've got a sex policy, which it clearly says, right, what the policy is, that if it's anything that you would get any sexual gratification from or is sexual, that it's not allowed on there, right? It's not allowed on YouTube, right? But that's just, if you do that, the sexual material is just not allowed. It's a normal strike. Now, if you type the words flexi sex in, there are 8 or 9 videos, and it's sexual material, and it's titled sexual material. It says that it's adult sexual material on it. The description is, this is adult sexual material, and it's for sexual gratification. Now, I reported it multiple times, all of the videos, to YouTube, and they refused to remove it. So, firstly, to start with, they're not applying the policy to everyone. They're picking and choosing, so they're in breach of their own policy. They're violating their own policy, and they're discriminating against who they apply the policy to. So you've got to be able to sue them for that, because that's discrimination. So straight away, immediately, you've got to sue YouTube for discrimination. You've got all this material here, and you're discriminating against who you apply the policy to and who you don't. Right, that's one claim. They can't deny that because the Flexi Sex albums were there. I've got the evidence. That's one case. They cannot deny that case. There's no defence because they're doing it. They're discriminating. Now, the next thing is that even if you get a strike, fair enough, but they're doing this thing where if you make this severe violation, and this severe violation means if you haven't got any strikes, right, you could have been on the channel there for 10 years, you might have 3,000 videos, right? If you do this thing called a severe violation, right, they can take your whole channel down like that without any other matter. And they're claiming that if you've got any other channels, they're not going to let you back on any other channels because it's circumvention. So they can take other channels down because of one video. Now, this severe policy violation, it clearly says, you go through the whole policy, it doesn't mention sexual content once, right? It mentions violence, illegal activities, or harmful acts, right? Now, therefore, in order for you to have severely violated the policy and have your whole channel taken down because of one strike, you need to have broken the law of harmful acts or dangerous things, right? Or dangerous things. Now, the thing is, right, that for a normal strike, right, one of the normal regular strikes is sexual violation, right? But that doesn't mean that's not harmful or illegal or dangerous, right? Because it might just be dancing naked. In order to make it into a serious violation, something that is sexual, like just standing there naked or, I don't know, masturbating or whatever it is, or even just a woman dancing naked, right? And believe me that those Flexi Sex videos are all designed for, titled and explained to be for sexual gratification, but YouTube refused to remove them, right? It's like a chemical, right? In order for one chemical to be made into a different chemical, you change the molecular structure of it, right? Like COVID. So just because a normal strike, it has to add elements into the video. The sexual acts have to be either dangerous sexual acts, illegal sexual acts, or violent sexual acts. It can't just be normal sexual. So in order for it to transform into a serious violation, it has to have either illegal, dangerous, or harmful acts in the video, right? Which mine doesn't at all. And it was on private and it put no one at harm or risk. They were saying that I put people on the platform at risk when I didn't. And then they said I shared it with one person, right? But yet it wasn't even severe. Now, the thing is, right, on this, I've just typed in Casino Royale balls, right? And you get this scene from a movie, Casino Royale, where he's in a private room. They go into this private secret place and they beat his balls. He strips him naked. He puts him on a chair. He cuts out the base of the chair and he gets this thing and he literally bashes and beats his balls. Now, if this is not a violent act, and if this is not a dangerous act, and if this is not an illegal act, I don't know what is. But yet here it is in front of me, and we are witnessing it. Here is a combination of all three: dangerous, violent, and illegal, because that is an assault. It is an assault on a person being portrayed. You're watching it. Now, even if someone's on a private video on YouTube in a room in America somewhere, or wherever you're watching this, you're watching the same thing happen in front of you, right? Now, this is the thing, right? If this is what, and this is a little bit of this is a different thing, right? This is because you've got to get, this is like a situational thing, right? If you think, if like the Hill program, right? They're going on about private platforms. It's got nothing to do whether it's private platform or not, right? You've got the law of the country, of the state, right? Of the nation, the law, right? The law applies to everyone. Now, there are sometimes different laws for whether it's private or not, like smoking inside or whatever, but there are still laws. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're in private or you're not in private, right? This is like Elon Musk with his cage fight, you know, his consent to a cage fight. No one consents to be assaulted or beaten to death in their balls. Or, you know, you'd have to have big balls to do it. I'd like to see Mark Zuckerberg volunteer to be on this chair and let Elon Musk have a swing at his balls, right? Now, in private, it doesn't matter if you are in YouTube, on YouTube, climbing on YouTube's roof, if you turn into Mike TV and, you know, merge with the metaverse and upload yourself onto YouTube. They're saying it's private, right? But yet, even though you can go on YouTube from a library without paying, for free, without even logging in and having an account or joining it, anyone in the public can go on there. It's public access. It's never seen private. On a private club, you have to pay to have membership. It's partially open to the public. It's public access, right? It's privately owned, but it's public access. Like if you walk down an alleyway, which is public right of way, you're going past private buildings, but there's a public way through. This is like placing notices in public, particularly political ones, with your Class F and your immunity and exemptions, right? Which we've done a paper about. Now, it doesn't matter if you're in public, if you're in a pub, if you're at home, or wherever you are, right? This here is illegal because it is harmful, dangerous acts and likely an assault. Now, if you are in YouTube, on YouTube, or, you know, underneath YouTube, whatever YouTube, right? If Neil Mohan picks up this and puts you on a chair and cuts the bottom off it and swings his little ball sack around and pounds your balls, he's committing an illegal act against you, right? This is an illegal act against you. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're in a private premises, at work, or at home, or in your own garden, or wherever. In the country, in the state, in whether it's federal or local or foreign, it's an assault. There's not many countries where it isn't an assault, right? This is illegal act, right? The law, it doesn't matter if you're Elon Musk or whether you're Mark Zuckerberg or whether you're Google or whether you're Prince Charles or whatever, right? This is illegal to do against a person wherever, right? Now, with the right to petition, right, it is illegal for the other person to take action against you, whether through the law. You can't have any law. Congress can't make one, right? So when you're sat on the chair and you're speaking freely, you're petitioning, you're asking people for signatures, you're promoting, you're advertising, it doesn't actually just give you, it doesn't give you the right to do it, because in the Tumultuous Petitioning Act and before, people were doing this thing. It wasn't illegal. It's never been illegal, and it doesn't even invent it. The actual law is explicitly and purposely for immunity from other parties, right? It's immunity from other parties, no matter where you are or what you're doing. And it says in that Professor Karen Bowie's paper, it says that even in private and free speech or in public or wherever, that is what people were doing and what the government were prosecuting them for, and why the immunity and protections is made from being held to commitments by an other party, right? Even whether you're in your house or not. It's like when you are at work and they're putting up this union, they're unionising, right? This is what Jeff Bezos is trying to stop them do, taking down their union material in the workplace or telling them they can't talk about the union in the workplace. Like eBay trying to say, you can't say this or you can't say that on eBay, you can't talk about other sellers or this or that. It's trying to actually stop you speaking freely. Now, we're not talking about, commerce, business, buying things from other people or using other shops or whatever. When we're talking about political material, casework to government, petitions, elections and referendums, casework, a legal process and proceeding which requires you to talk about it to other people, which requires you to ask other people, and which requires you to publish adverts even in the local press, the law is that it is illegal for the other party, any other party, to bring legal proceedings or intervene or hold you to any commitments, which means that it's all about the other person, right, and their actions towards you. Just like when someone is punching you or hitting your testicles with one of these ball sacks, right? You can petition, and all that is required for it, without the other party intervening in any way at all. It makes their actions illegal. So they are effectively punching you. YouTube are effectively punching RFK when they take his video down. And it doesn't matter whether he is in Neil Mohan's office or not. It doesn't matter. Because it's like, if you're in someone's house delivering something, you can say what you want. Now, you might be polite or not polite, but explicitly, if you happen to be asking them to sign a petition or advertising, promoting it, and whatever it stands for in any way, or getting elected, this is where it comes in. But we're not just delivering to Neil Mohan or to YouTube. We are uploading political videos to YouTube. This is what The Hill don't understand. The Hill I don't think The Hill programme get it at all whatsoever. It doesn't matter if it's private property or not. Because I'd like to see, The Hill walk into, YouTube and let, Neil Mohan bust his balls. It's got nothing to do with private or public. Our laws are a blanket for the whole country. In fact, private businesses are meant to reflect. The whole point in company policy is really the law. It's meant to remind you what the laws of the country are. Some laws are different for workplace. It's meant to be to tell people what the law is in business. It isn't really there for companies to make up really their own rules, because the law makes up the rules for home, work and business, where you can smoke, where you can't, right? Now, policy is only really meant to really be things that aren't too serious, like the law. It's got the law in it, but when it comes to additional things, it's not the government and it's not legislating. You know, you have to wear, all members must wear a dicky bow, or all members must have their shoes polished or clean shoes, or even no shoes, like a mosque. Take your shoes off. Things like that, right? They don't usually involve them, taking all your 3,000 videos and 10 years worth of work from you, particularly when some of it is evidence in legal proceedings or there's a legal requirement or whatever. These enterprises, they're not legislators, but they're acting like they've got their own country or their own state of America within the business or the business's operations. A corporate entity is not a 53rd state of America. It's not a legislative body, and it can't make it can't make it lawful for itself to assault you, and it can't make it lawful for itself to stop you from petitioning, talking about petitions or publishing petitions and so forth, particularly when publishing is meant to be a fair, equal environment. And it wouldn't matter, but what makes YouTube concede anyway? They are conceding. And I don't really think RFK gets this. When YouTube, in their policy, it says we will comply with and abide by state, federal and foreign law, which means they concede and give you your right to petition without them intervening. Now, if they're making policies up that conflict with that, they're forfeiting. They are forfeiting their policies, because if they said we don't comply with all federal law and rights, then they could apply their policy to petitioning. But because of the right to petition forbids their intervention, right? They are, by saying they comply with and will obey all federal law, they are giving you your right to petition, and they are relinquishing their policy clauses on you, or else they will have to take down it when it says that we comply with all federal and state law, which means we're not going to give you your rights. When they say that we comply with state and federal law and we give you your rights, they are relinquishing their policy from you, at least where the enactment applies, and the enactment applies over political materials, elections, petitions and referendums, and that is the law. And it's impossible for them to... They can't even not comply with state and federal law, even if they wanted to not comply with it, because it's actually illegal to take that right away from you. And Congress can't even take that right away. Congress shall make no law. And if Congress shall make no law, then certainly YouTube can't make no policy. And I don't know why people can't get this, don't understand this. It's critically and seriously important. It's the same as punching you in the face or kicking you in the balls, like on this here. And I don't even know how YouTube have got this on. You can't picture this. You can't show this on YouTube, right? Look at this. YouTube policy claims that violent, illegal or dangerous acts being shown on a video screen is against policy. So what is this video doing here? Why am I watching it now and recording this video? How is it possible? I mean, and how do you even know when people are acting or not? It's not. It doesn't even matter about acting, because the thing is, they're saying that they don't even want people to see it. Why? Because apparently it's bad for the community. Now, if you can act a sexual act, all right then, let's go on to the sexual policy. So, it doesn't matter whether you film someone kissing their girlfriend or two people kiss and they're acting. So is Neil Mohan going to say, right, oh, you're already kissing each other and you're acting, right? Oh, no, but, well, is it sexual or not? This is the thing. You know, it's a porn video, they're only acting. They're not really, oh, no, you know, this is it. It doesn't hold up, particularly when they're offering all these videos and music videos that have got offensive language in and so forth. The policy doesn't hold up. And worse than that, the majority of strikes are from system errors, triggered by system errors. I've actually had YouTube actually say, oh, it's our mistake. I complained through Twitter. It took a long time and they admitted fault, but they haven't put my channels back up because they're saying that it wasn't that strike that they admitted fault on that took my channel down. It was only one strike before that was a serious one, when it can't possibly have been, because it doesn't even have dangerous, violent or illegal acts in. It's merely girls who are dancing semi-naked, and I didn't even publish it to public, and I wanted to get someone to help me edit it into a parody, political parody. You know, so and that is the only video that they had a strike on, other than the one that they admitted fault on. So I don't know what YouTube are just, they're lying. It doesn't matter how much money you've got, if you've got $1 million or $1 billion. They're just trying to blag it. And the more and more vague they put the policies, the more and more insulting it is, because they know that the more clarity they put there, then we can win arguments over them. They want a policy where they can give themselves a bit of space and working room to kind of like just do what they want. Say, oh, we'll take this down, we can take that down. And, you know, whenever they want to be able to feel like they've got control. If they really want to take something down, they can do what they want. When that's, they can't do that. They want to be able to, but they can't, because they've got to follow sense and reason and law. And when you're a big, powerful company, you want to end up doing what the hell you want. And this is where we've got to with it. They think money buys things. They think expensive lawyers. They've bought the streets. These companies they've approached councils and they've got things passed. So they've got billboards and signs and bus shelters all along every single street, everywhere. You can't go anywhere now. Where do we put signs up for public notices? And then when Extinction Rebellion are painting on buildings and that, using political rights to try and be on an equal footing to these big enterprises, because they don't want to pay money and advertise on their advertising boards, because then it's almost like if you've got a case again, if you're the plaintiff against another party, it's almost like giving the other party money so you can promote your case to them. It's almost like you're helping. If you're bringing a case against another party, you don't send them a suitcase of £500 so you can advertise your case against them. You know, this is ridiculous. The thing with the newspapers and the thing with YouTube is this. If you don't want a public platform, and it isn't a private platform, it's public access, you don't have to be a member, you don't even have to have an internet connection of your own, you can go on free Wi-Fi. There are free Wi-Fi over the internet, and all you have to do is type in YouTube, you don't have to have an account with them, and you can watch videos on there. It's public access. It's only privately owned. It's not private membership. Right, it's not a private members club. It's accessible to the public, like the swimming baths. Although you pay to go in the swimming baths, but anyone can go in there. You don't have to be a member. Although they've got some public swimming pools in America. A public swimming pool in America. They want control, and particularly political control, because that's how laws get made and changed, and that is why now they are fighting back, and they really don't have a newspaper. It's like Rupert Murdoch. If you don't want people to advertise fairly under discrimination law. Discrimination law should cover it anyway, because you're discriminating against someone who's for or against whatever cause. But the political rights are there to make certain that it's illegal to do it and not just discriminative. You know, YouTube haven't even got a case. It's joke. And I don't know what wage Paul Groves is on. Yes, he has to understand complicated and complex laws and detailed clauses, you know, like bankers and so forth. But on this subject, on this matter, they're not right. They aren't right. And in fact, copyright, that paper on American copyright law, exhibits in petition casework are evidence exhibits, and they are fully protected in law. There's no arguing that Mickey Mouse or laws or whatever, you know. None of those cases should have been brought. They're just like having a go, having a try, you know, and unfortunately some courts have let them have a go and a try. When that enactment applies, it gives protection. Now, either it is political or it isn't, right? And there shouldn't be any copyright lawsuits at all against petitions or elections, none. They just like to have a go in America when they shouldn't have been. That First Amendment is based on and explicitly worded because it mirrors and it conveys the right to petition. And it means the same. And there should be no contest in that. And we're looking into the history and the basis of that, right? So I don't even know why RFK, how have they got this on? If this isn't a violent and illegal act, I don't know what is. And I don't know how that flexi-sex is up there. They're discriminating against us. And I strongly believe my final point is this, which is the more far-out point of them all. I think Black Rock Vanguard and this 77th Brigade and Battalion and these people in the government who want to affect and influence things covertly, when you can't really speak to anyone at YouTube properly, when it's a nightmare to get matters resolved, it's like banging on a glass window. And I think that these powers that be want to be able to just make things magically vanish or pull things from these platforms and make it so, you know, a false excuse or whatever, or an algorithm glitch or whatever, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're like banging on a glass screen. There's no help you can get, really. And that's how they want the whole world. They want what's happening. It's not just going down to the local shop and saying, oh, you know, I've got a problem. Can I return this? Or I want this service sorted out. They're making it now so that it's just like they're the enforcers of these policies that are almost superseding legislation and law. And this is the hallmark of the authoritarian state. Why would Neil Mohan want to be a fascist? Why would he want to have an authoritarian platform? Now, it's true that it's difficult to manage these platforms because they're so big, but why did you go so big? If you've got a glitchy system that's got lots of errors and triggering lots of strikes that are wrong and, people are getting upset and losing their material, you shouldn't have grown a platform too big. No matter how much, AI will solve it. Well, we're having to use AI now, in order to spot out these problems because even the Hill doesn't understand them. We need some intervention. I see this as the industrial military complex taking over the planet, and all the CEOs and other people, they are just puppets, but they don't take it. I don't think they understand the gravity of the situation. They don't understand the gravity of how important this is to the elite that are really, really behind it, who are wanting to take over the whole place. And then when things don't go the way that the elite wants, we get these incidents, we get these newspaper accidents popping up in the perfect timing and perfect response, children getting hit, children going missing. And to me, it's not coincidence. It is a terrorist attack. And they've got the means and methods to do it now, no matter whether they're really doing it or just staging it. And I don't think the police, unfortunately, are the first ones on the scene, and they're the first ones that these entities can manage, I believe. This is my strong opinion, because this is what I'm observing. And they want They want everyone to think that it's some other jinx or some other dark O force or Donnie Darko force, not them. But it is the industrial military complex. And they're getting very angry when we ever do anything to thwart their plans, because we've got all these phase 1 council, phase 2 council, phase 3, phase 4, and we're right stuck in the middle of it. We're stuck right in between all the phases, with them annihilating half of the place, trying to take away our right to object, and they've got no intention. They're going to go phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 till we're all Borg cyborgs or transformed into God knows what sex, or even not having a sex anymore. And we need to stop it. And everything they do means something. It's symbolic. In Korra, into the core, destroying heritage and history in ancient sites. Accept cookies. The words and meaning they choose and use are not just coincidental random people. It's planted or it's guided and inserted from a military style operation that is far beyond leaders and has got trillions at its disposal, as quoted by Charles. Nothing fits more perfectly. It's like the glass slipper on Cinderella. It's a military style operation far beyond leaders with trillions at its disposal. And that is what we're up against. And it is attempting to censor any opposition that could possibly try and stop its phases of what damage it's already caused to our health, to people's health, like what RFK's pointed out with all these diseases that are on the increase and rise, people's health, and controlling our behaviour and habits. And it has to stop. It's all tied in together. And YouTube is a very important part, because without these platforms, we cannot fairly oppose it on equal footing, particularly when we are bringing legal proceedings to the government, to the parliament, fairly, which unfortunately Biden doesn't believe in fair opposition.